Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to VidaneTV Thursday night, which means that easy enough for me to say. Holy, we're all sorts of caffeinated up here in the booth. Let's try that one more again. We're only doing it live, right? Welcome back to VidaneTV, and thank you so much for tuning in. Do a little bit of NEP racing here tonight. It is NEP night in America and even parts of Canada. Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. in the broadcast booth, choking on my own spit. It's gonna be a long night here, folks. Alongside me, Aaron Creed, AA Ron. How we feeling tonight?
Oh, we're feeling a little drowsy and getting caffeinated up, but we're doing all right otherwise. We got 23, looks like 23 drivers ready to take the green here shortly here at Talladega Super Speedway. I know there's a couple drivers that they decided to continue vacationing down in Florida this week after Speed Weeks and our New Smyrna race last week. But yeah, these guys are going to put on a show though.
Absolutely. You can take a look at that starting lineup. Steve Daddio getting the pole in that 99 car. He's his second in points coming into tonight, 10 points back behind Reagan Parent, the current points leader. Dale Glessner going to start on his outside.
And there's Reagan Parent, speak of him, starting in third, probably coming in with the most momentum, not just from recent races, not just having the points lead, but he's one of those drivers that pretty much has the best average finish of anyone on these super speedway tracks. And there's Brent Roy on the outside, and fourth, still a championship contender.
Beta championship contenders, third in points, winner this past Monday in the Super Late Model Series, put together by Easy Clean and RBR Maritime iRacing. Ryan Messer going to roll off P5 Rookie of the Year contender, the 026 of Colby Burkholder. He's got a chance to get himself a win here at Talladega.
And row number 4, Corey Casagrande, looking to turn a few weeks of bad luck around, starting in 7th. And how about that qualifying run for Jared Adams in 8th? If you want to see what he has to say, go over to the Jennerstown Speedway Facebook page. He's going to tell you all about their 2024 season.
A lot of mayhem in this row. Bobby Shipp going to roll off P9 with Mike Hopkins in that 78 car qualifying in 10th.
And don't count out John Peters starting in 11th. Multiple wins this season. And there's Evan Boyer in 12th. And I believe he is still looking for that first win of the 2023-24 season.
Tracy Johnny Miller in the number 6 car, starting on the inside. He's going to roll off P13 with series and race sponsor here tonight, the number 3 YRD ride of Brandon Uhouse.
And there's row 8. Ryan Salvatore had a good run at New Smyrna. And Brian Shipp starting in 16th. He's going to have to catch up to his brother there, who had a good top 10 qualifying run.
Scott McDonald in the 44 there in 17th. And you can see these lap times still relatively close, within a tenth and a half. Jeffrey Brown in the 27 car going to roll off P18.
Yeah, and then rounding out the top 20, we have Cody LeBlanc. And Dan Winter is back with the series, starting in 20th, rounding out that top 20, and still less than 0.2 of a second off from first to last of those that took qualifying time.
Jason Ricker, Austin Belke, and Adam Henry did not take a time here, but they will race here in the field, the race control number 69 car. We saw them out there during practice, but they won't be taking the green flag here tonight. Interesting to see Adam Henry in that 62 car start from the back. According to the stats with RSL TV, he's one of the most winningest drivers here on super speedways. So it's going to be a story in itself to watch that 62 car go to work.
Yeah, he's got some pretty good stats in not too many super speedway starts. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who can do what here. It's usually pretty wide open here. A lot of room to pass. Drafting always a key on these super speedways. And we'll see if we can go. I don't know if I want to say it. I'm not going to say it, Paul. We're just going to go green flag racing here and see what we can do.
100%. John Peters, Brandon Marhefka, a couple of winners here at the Super Speedway Series. Neither of them, I believe, are in the field. Check that. John Peters starting back outside the top 10. You can already see the bottom side of the racetrack getting hooked up. Glessner in the 10 car down on the bottom side. Daddio slips up just a little bit, but that might have been because of the connection issue of Reagan Parent there in the 17 car.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that. I mean, Reagan's right there in the championship race, and there you see him pulling down to the apron. So not a good start for Reagan Parent. Hopefully he can get things recovered here and get back in the hunt. as we see Stephen Daddio leading the way. He is one of those drivers that's trying to catch up to Regan Parent in the points race. Currently, his second in points, only 10 back, and he's going to lead lap 1. Once we come to the stripe, Talladega's a little bit different right there after the trial. He gets the lead, and we're 3 wide.
How about 4 wide? Let's go 4. Almost. We almost went 4 wide there for third place. We're still 3 wide for just about the second half of the top 10. They get it all sorted out, and they get back to 2 wide. Fantastic racing from these NEP guys. Watching them throughout practice. There you can see the Camry kid in the 26 car, the Flow Racing ride, doing a great job sliding on up in front of the 26 car of Burkholder to try and lead that line, get a little bit of momentum. There's more cars hooked up down on the bottom side, but they're trying to make it work up top. There you see Daddio trying to cut that draft off ever so slightly by drifting up and just taking away a little bit of that air. But now you can see they're relatively evenly matched. They might even be a little bit more organized up on the high side. And you made mention last time by, that start-finish line's all the way down here from that angle. They were neck and neck.
Yeah, and it looks like it's Stephen Daddio might have been credited for the lead there on that lap once again, but they were dead even. Brent Roy's going to try to get up front here with the help of rookie competitor Colby Burkholder, who's kind of pulled away in the rookie race down the stretch here, as he's going to try to capture his first top 5. But we saw him running really well at Daytona earlier in the year. So these super speedway tracks, they really let some of these drivers shine. There you see Brandon Newhouse, YRD Designs number 3. The NEP bets over under finish for him tonight is 9.5 after an 8th here last season. He's going to try to better that, as he's now kind of following Colby Burkholder in a battle for the lead. And Brent Roy did lead that last lap.
Brent Roy doing everything he can to score points here at Talladega, wants to get up there, lead laps, wants to win this race and maximize. Oh, big trouble. 3-car involved in it as well. It almost happened as we were switching the cameras here. First caution flag going to fly, and a lot of fast cars just got some big hits.
Yeah, and with no fast repairs here, that's pretty much going to be the end of the day. And we were talking for some of these drivers, and that's not good news for someone like Brent Roy, who's trying to get back into the points race here. Currently sitting in 4th in points, only 31 back. This is really going to take a hit with only 3 more races after this weekend. I keep saying weekend. It's not the weekend yet. It's Thursday night.
Yeah, still got another day to go, and it's going to be a long night for some of these cats because, man, oh, man, you can see this happened right up on our front row. Little bit of a bump that wasn't quite square from U-House to the back of the 26. We're going to follow along here with the Aerial Monkey Express drone cam, as we're going to try and start calling it here, as long as I can remember the name of it, which I think I butchered at that time too. But in any sense, taking a look at it, you get that square bump, not so square in the corners, hard hit for 26 of Brent Roy. Just as I was saying, really got to keep an eye on those top 3, top 4 in the point standings. You want to avoid the big one, and man, oh man, before we could even get the words out, there it is, the big one here at Talladega.
Yeah, and that was a hard hit right there, and a tough break. You hate to see that for drivers like Evan Boyer and Jared Adams just being caught up in that. I mean, Jared Adams having a solid top 10 run here at Talladega, and just an innocent bystander here, having nowhere to go. He kind of goes to the inside there, a little bit of Boyer, but he's just swept in it. A couple drivers that did get by, though, Stephen Daddio in the points race. Ryan Messer gets by on the inside. Dale Glessner. Glessner's probably has one of the best average finishes of anyone on these super speedways. He actually might have the best average finish. So, yeah, those are going to be drivers to watch when we do go back racing.
Have an onboard an oh shoot moment here for the 24 car. Woo! How about that? Out of the throttle ever so slightly, gets to the yellow flag there. Let's out, kind of cruising. Good heads up driving there from Austin Belkey, and looks like he's going to be one of the drivers to take advantage of this opportunity to come down pit road and get some service. So you see Daddio, Peters on pit road, Miller, McDonald, Ship, Belkey's down here, Brown, pretty much. I'd say probably 2/3 of the field down here on pit road, topping off on fuel.
Yeah, it looks like all but the top 8. And not only fuel, I don't know if anyone's going to take tires. They do get 2 extra sets. It's a little early, but but they do have some extra sets there available for this particular race. Some drivers that stayed out there's Colby Burkholder. Talked a bunch about him. Dale Glessner in second, Ryan Messer third, Corey Casagrande fourth, and Bobby Ship in fifth. Burkholder is still looking for his first, not only his first top 5, but actually first top 10 finish. I didn't realize that until I took a look at the standings. And he's going to be on pace to shatter that if he stays out of trouble the remainder of the distance.
You can see everybody tucking in behind the pace car. Lights still on here. So we'll kind of take a look at what went on. We saw the top 8 stay out. Daddio and Peters, the first drivers off pit road to kind of close out the top 10. And looking at the scoring pylon, remember when we talked at the beginning of this thing, we made mention Adam Henry was going to be starting shotgun on the field, and it'd be fun to see how long it's going to take him to climb up. Well, there he is sitting 6th place in that 62 car. Adam Henry on a mission here at Talladega.
Yeah, how about that? Adam Henry, his first full season in the NEP. We saw him kind of come along mid-season last year, and Adams had some decent results, and he's looking to kind of have a breakthrough race. He's got one top 10 finish this year, a couple laps led, so he's going to really try to improve upon that. And a track like Talladega is definitely a place where you can do that. A couple drivers already out of the race. Brent Roy is officially retired from this race. Looks like we're going to have about 17 cars on the lead lap. I don't know what Regan Parent's story is. We saw him kind of drop to the apron there early on, I think on the opening lap. The scoring pylon does have him ahead of some of these drivers that were involved in that wreck. So we'll have to see where this places him. Yeah, he's back out there actually in 18th spot, and I think he's on the lead lap. So we see some. I guess we're just kind of getting an order here, or is Bobby Ship going to be coming down pit road this time by? Oh, no, we're doubling up. We're getting ready to go racing again here in another lap.
Yeah, lights off on top of the iRacing pace truck. Everybody getting lined up 2 by 2 here. And this is a little bit different for us here in the booth, but as well as the drivers behind these cars. We're used to these quick cautions, quick yellows here with short track racing. So these guys get a little bit of an opportunity to kind of put together a bit of a game plan. As you can see, that final kind of parade lap lined up 2 by 2 next to everybody and around everybody else. It gives you that little bit of opportunity to kind of re-psych yourself up and get amped up for the restart.
So yeah, you and I can see on the Discord the different teammates kind of in their different rooms, kind of probably planning on some strategy. It is February 29th, so I think some of the 229 Autosport drivers are going to be trying to team together to win on their rare leap year date that we're on tonight. So we'll see what happens here as we're going to get ready to go to green with Burkholder and Glessner on the front row. Still got a couple more corners, though, before we go green. Remember, we're not going green until after they hit that trioval.
That makes a whole lot more sense. 229 team meeting because today's 229. Oh.
You finally understood my joke from earlier today. But,
well over my head earlier today. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. Let's be
Absolutely.
real here. Seems like we may be having a little bit of trouble with the Facebook feed. It seems they've blocked us for some copyright music for music we've been using for 4 years now. So that's always fun. If you are having trouble with the Facebook feed, please join us over on the VidaneTV YouTube page where we are always live there as well. Let your friends and family know as well. Going to get that restart here, though, with lap number 8. Burkholder showing why he's leading the Rookie of the Year standings by a whole ton. That 026 car's up front. He's got a big push from Messer in that one car. Yeah,
Messer is doing a great job here, and he's a former super speedway race winner. Actually, no, he's not. He had a podium this year. I think he won one of the duels, though, earlier this year. That's what I'm remembering. So Ryan Messer definitely one to look after here on that inside line. Here comes Mike Hopkins in the 78. We have not talked about him tonight. He had a rough go of it a couple last week in New Smyrna. Going to try to keep it in one piece here at Talladega. And right now he's following that inside line and rocketing himself to the top 5.
Big bump there from 1 to the 26 car, trying to hold on to it. You made mention Corey Casagrande up there as well. Hopkins having a solid run in that top 5, and we've seen this story before. Mike Hopkins, very, very good on these super speedway tracks. Very good with the draft. Very, very strong push car as well, but hasn't been able to seal the deal here and close one of these big races out. Looking mighty sporty, though, all over the back bumper of Ryan Messer there, third car in line on the bottom.
Yeah, for sure, but that outside line is working really well. Whoa, Corey Casagrande almost did not clear the Colby Burkholder car, but is able to, and files into the second spot as he follows Dale Glessner, who is your new leader once again. And that outside line, though, Bobby Shipp and Adam Henry, a couple Pennsylvanians trying to make it work. They got Scott McDonald, who's going to think twice about it, and he's going to stay on the inside line, following Cody LeBlanc in the 7NH. And here comes Hopkins to the outside.
Yeah, Corey Casagrande saw a hole down on the bottom side and took it. He's going to hold on to the number 2 spot right now, depending on how far Chip gets up. And you made mention Hopkins slides on up to that upper lane as Ryan Messer going to dip down below the apron there on that's the back straightaway. That's kind of curious with the one car.
Yeah, definitely. We have a couple point leaders that have kind of done that. But Messer's able to get back going. Actually, he kind of drops back here to run with John Peters. Maybe a little bit of strategy between the 1 and the 09 to hook up and make their way towards the front when it counts. Maybe kind of practice what they're going to do when it comes down to the end here later on and let these guys up front play. As right now we see Bobby Shipp and Dale Glessner side by side. A whole bunch of Pennsylvanians, a couple Connecticut drivers there up in the front pack right now. And right now it's Dale Glessner continuing to lead the way.
Reagan Parrott going to dip down pit road as well as Jared Adams. Well, they've been on pit road for a couple of laps, it appears. They were involved in that last one. Timing and scoring just now getting caught up. Apologize for that, but Dale Glessner out front on the bottom side. It seems like they've kind of sorted things out for the most part. And as you can see, working lap 11 here with the fuel loads that they've got, 75% max is what they're able to fill these cars up to at the beginning of the race. So they can go 32, maybe 33 laps here maximum. I got a feeling here what we might end up seeing in the next 10 laps or so, maybe even sooner, is some of these drivers trying to short pit, run this race backward, come down pit road as early as you can, get that thing topped off, and make sure that they've got enough to make it to the checker. But when you gamble like that, you take a little bit less time down on pit road, but what about that green-white checkered finish that we've had on these super speedways many, many times in the past?
Yeah, for sure. It always seems to come down the wire, whether we have a long green flag run or we have a short run there towards the end. The one strategy I'm kind of curious about, you mentioned him being back in the pits. Reagan Parrott, we saw him have that connection issue or something went wrong on the opening lap there. But then it seemed like he came out, ran a few laps under yellow, and he's actually in front of these guys that were involved in that earlier wreck. And Reagan Parrott's one of those guys that he already had a drop race. So he leads points by missing one of the races. The drop already factored in. And so basically he can't miss another race or he's out of championship contention, even though he's currently leading the point. So maybe he's kind of doing a little points racing with a car or a connection that's ill handling. Kind of funny to see it that way. He's currently in 18th spot. But Dale Glessner continuing to show the way with Corey Casagrande helping him in the 7CT. Colby Burkholder still right there in the top 5. Bobby Shipp and Scott McDonald having a good run in 5th.
Yeah, just to give the folks at home a little bit of clarification on the points, Reagan Parrott came into tonight as the points leader with all the drops and everything factored in. Steve Daddio in the 99 car was 10 points back. He's having a solid run. He has been in and out of the top 10, currently in the 11th spot right now. Ryan Messer, who we've seen up towards the front, we saw him drop back there. Got a little bit hectic up in the front half of the top 10. So he dropped back just outside of the top 10, has a very, very fast race car. He came in 16 points back from the point lead, and then it was back to 4th place, Brent Roy, who had a long shot, came in 31 points behind, but then unfortunately got involved in that big wreck early on in this one, so he is out. And then the 5th place driver is going to be John Peters, who's 33 points back. Not mathematically ineligible just yet, but running out of time with 3 races to go in this one. And it's going to be interesting to see just how much tighter these points are going to get with the 99 and the 1 still doing, having themselves a solid run, and both very, very strong here at Talladega.
Yeah, for sure. And one of our Sal's race notes for tonight was about those championship contenders, where it could be the end for them. And survival was key. Key bolded. And unfortunately, Arcel put in that note there. He was involved in the early wreck and was not able to survive himself. So unfortunate for when you're the one that's kind of put in the notes. It's kind of like in real life when you're giving relationship advice to someone and you're the dude that's single, right? but right now we're looking at this great battle side by side for the top between Bobby Shipp and it was between Bobby Shipp and Adam Henry, a couple drivers that it would be huge if they got their first career NEP win right here at Talladega. Dale Glessner, though, going to try to put a stop that he's running in the inside line still, running in that third spot. Mike Hopkins on the outside. And they're all just kind of swapping positions right now. And because they're doing this 2x2, Ryan Messer, John Peters, who've been kind of hanging back, they're still less than a second behind.
Yeah, as much as these guys hate to admit it, they're doing a little bit of the fuel mileage strategy right now. Usually at these plate races, we'll see a couple of drivers that are able to kind of blow past the pack because everybody's trying to save fuel. As I say that, it looks like the 62 gets a little bit of a shot there from the 78. That high line's starting to get put back together. But it's one of those deals where it does get frustrating between some of the drivers. Some guys trying to save fuel, other drivers trying to get up towards the front. And a lot of times when that happens, that's when you start to see the calamity around the racetrack. And man, I'm just looking at those top 3 guys up on that high side. They are bumper to bumper. And Hopkins dipping out to get a little bit of air on the front of that thing. But things are starting to get racy here. Working lap number 17, just about to the halfway point here.
Yep, we're kind of clicking off those laps one by one. Still a long way to go in this one. And I feel like after that early wreck, now everyone's just kind of, even though it does look like we have some hard racing here, everyone's kind of just jockeying and making sure they know what they've got. And nothing too intense going on right now. Although that camera angle, the tread cam or whatever you want to call it, is quite intense.
Yeah, racing always intense on the big track. Sometimes with the wide angles, you don't quite get to see it. Let's see if we can shake things up a bit. We'll do a little onboard racing if we can. Let's take a look. This is the 10 car of Dale Glessner. We've seen him pretty much all the way around the racetrack. Been in the back, made his way up towards the front, currently running in the 3rd spot. And you can hear just really feathering that throttle in behind the 04 car of Shipp.
Yep, that's Talladega for you. Just being able to kind of pretty much run it wide open, and most of the time, because if you get out of the gas, just like at Daytona, you're going to be going backwards. So right now, everyone's just trying to do what they can. All of these cars up front, obviously drafting really well, being able to do what they want their cars to do for the most part, and everyone. I mean, look at that, Hopkins and McDonald, they just look like they're ready to make a pass if they can, just because of the momentum that you get from the draft. But the thing is, you're talking about saving fuel. You don't want to be the one that's up front because that kind of uses a bit more fuel than having your car tucked behind the next car in line. So right now we're kind of going into single file formation. Scott McDonald getting hung out to dry, and we'll see where he's able to file in, or if he's going to even try to right now.
Yeah, coming to 30 to go, I think you'll see a couple of drivers try and peel off here at this point, see if they can get down pit road without any issues and back off to the track. No takers this time by, but we made mention 32, 33 laps max on a 3/4 fuel load that we're running here tonight. So a lot of these guys have those green flag pit stops in mind, and that is in fact one of the things that I saw that was different between here at Talladega and back at Daytona. There were a lot of drivers that were practicing green flag pit stops because we went green to checkered back at Daytona to kick things off for this season. So these drivers know that green flag pit stops may very well be a possibility here tonight. They've got a little bit of practice under their belt, but are they going to be able to do it under pressure?
Yeah, and it could certainly be pivotal too, because if you lose a second or two, even even just a second or two in the pits, that's a long ways back here at Talladega. And if you don't have a drafting partner once you're off a pit road, you could fall even further back, or just not even catch back up to the front pack. And I think if I recall, we saw that happen at Daytona a little bit to some competitors, and was a reason why they finished mid pack, even though did see a wreck coming right to the checker at Daytona, if I remember correctly. So a lot of interesting things going on. Interesting to see Scott McDonald. We saw him get hung out to dry, but he's kind of hanging there tight on that outside line by himself, just kind of riding along here in the 44 machine as Bobby Ship leads the way in the 04 machine. And Bobby Ship, these are his first laps led this season. I don't know. It could be all his entire NEP career, as last year he's another one that kind of joined partway through last year, and doing a good job in that 04.
Yeah, just taking a look at pardon me, taking a look at this year's point standings. Only one top 10 for the 04 car of Bobby Ship. So a great run here tonight, running up front, leading laps in that 04 car, and seeing if he can hold off here for another 25, 28 or so laps. As you can see, Dale Glessner going to shoot up onto the outside, try and lead that high line. The high line says, we got our own leader. We're going to keep pushing the 44 car. Glessner now stuck in the middle.
Yeah, now Scott McDonald going to capitalize on the outside. Saw him running all by himself there, but look who's with him. John Peters and Ryan Messer. All of a sudden, they are in the race here, battling for the top spot. I have a feeling they might be ganging up on Scott McDonald here shortly. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll ride behind, save some fuel like we've been talking about, and kind of ride there in the second and third spots. But Scott McDonald's going to lead this time by. Also his first lap sled of this season.
Always cool to see who's strong here at the super speedways, because it kind of opens it up to the floor, especially folks that are kind of used to the short track racing. A little bit of a blink there for Ryan Messer. He's going to lead the outside line, and we saw that one car was up front, up in the top three earlier on, decided to drop back just a little bit, and that right there was a test for he and John Peters, and you can see they're going to work right now too. They're doing some studying. These guys are playing 4D chess here with the front of the pack. It almost looks like they're separating themselves, and they're going to try and see how long it takes to get themselves hooked back together. And we saw them. They kind of broke out on that high side. They were back outside of the top 10. Took about a half a lap or so, but they were able to get hooked up and draft themselves up to the lead, up into the top three. So it's going to be a tall order to get around these two if the 1 and the 09 car are working together here at Talladega. Sure.
Yeah, for sure. And right now they're kind of a little bit apart here, but I don't think that's the end of what we'll see them hooking up here to try to go for the win. John Peters with 6 victories, or are we at 6 victories this season? 5 victories so far in this season. And then on the super speedways, John Peters, he's one of those guys. I don't think he's ever failed to complete a lap on the super speedways. So yeah, 100% of the laps completed. Him and Corey Casagrande. I think that was an NEP trivia question on their Twitter page, or X, whatever you want to call it. But both of them. Actually, I was looking at the wrong. Not Corey Casagrande. It was actually it is Corey Casagrande. Charles Lewandowski is the other one that has completed 100% laps, but he is not in the field tonight. So I was just looking at getting my eyes. I've been looking at spreadsheets all day, Paul, and I'm looking at them again, and my eyes are just bug-eyed. But let's focus what's going on the track instead of looking at stats again. Dale Glessner back up front in the number 10. Scott McDonald following him. There you got Messer and Peters once again. Cody LeBlanc in 5th, having a good showing. We are now halfway, and like you said, in a few laps, we might be seeing some of these drivers taking their ways down pit road.
Yeah, and you and I have the benefit of being able to see who's in whose channel as far as the voice chat goes between these drivers. And you saw that time by as they were coming out of turn number 4. There were a handful of drivers that kind of dipped down onto that yellow, underneath the yellow line. And it was almost like the rest of the drivers on the team channel were like, nope, not yet, next time. You see the 44 car of McDonald do that as well here. But again, that's a gamble in itself. Everybody has to make at least one pit stop. You know you made it halfway, so you can make it halfway. But do you want to try and stay out and maybe bet on a caution flag, or do you bet on this thing going green and trying to make up all of that track position out on the field? You can see once again they get a little bit slicey and dicey coming out of turn number 4, but no takers to pit road just yet. In the top 3, they're starting to break away just.
Here we have ourselves an official race now. 24 to go in this 50-lapper. Of course, we don't got to worry about rain. It's a beautiful night in Talladega, Alabama right now. But we got trouble. A little bit behind there. Corey Casagrande and Mike Hopkins got a little loose there. I think they were able to gather it back up, but they're going to lose a whole lot of ground. Mike Hopkins especially. I think we're going to stay green as everyone's been able to continue going on, but the back of the Mike Hopkins car does not look like it's in the best of shape.
Oh man, monster save for Hopkins there in the 78 car. Focus in on this. We still continue green, but there you see, big hit there for the 78. Gets another tap there as well. Gets down onto the apron. Everybody A-OK. Everybody keeps pointing in the right direction. But man, you made mention, lots of track position lost. He's going to try and hook up with Jeff Brown back here in the 27 car to see if those guys can kind of catch back up with the draft. They aren't too far back. I think if they're able to get hooked up and do a little bit of pushing, they'll be able to catch right back up.
You have to wonder, though, if the damage on the back of Hopkins' ride is going to hurt him, though, with how aerodynamics and downforce are so important at a track like this. So we'll have to see how that goes. He's going to stay on the lead lap and kind of ride the back of the lead lap right now. I believe Regan Parent's back on the track, 17 laps down, according to our timing and scoring. So that's kind of interesting to see him kind of conserve and try to get back out there. But back up front, Dale Glessner, Scott McDonald still riding together. Everyone's staying out this time by. McDonald kind of tucking in and out to see what he can do with that number 44 car, as Ryan Messer now tucks up under the 44 car to in the 3rd spot. See what he can do.
And speaking of aerodynamics and speaking of 22 to go, do you know anything about Joey Logano's gloves from this past week? They were aerodynamically something or other.
I have to wonder if any of these guys are using it in their sim rigs. You know,
possibility. There are a lot of sim racers that swear by racing gloves while they're doing the sim racing thing.
Yeah, so hopefully they're not. Then we might be doing some inspection after this race and see, making sure there's no webbed gloves going on. And I think we're going to have drivers coming down pit road this time.
Oh,
and we lost a back bumper.
I think that might have been off the 10 car if I'm looking correctly. Oh, trouble with the Burkholz. Oh, another bumper cover. There's the 10's bumper cover that time. That was definitely his. The 62 car of Henry is around. This is all under green flag. This is detrimental if you're going to try and get back out and gain some track position. But man, oh man, about half the field coming down here with 21 laps to go. Plenty of time to get this thing filled up. And it looks like a lot of these drivers are going to take at least right sides, a little bit of fuel, left sides going on for a couple of drivers as well. But man, oh man, that is wild. There you see the 62 car backing up on pit road. So issues continue for Adam Henry. These guys down and away, but meanwhile up front, Ryan Messer, he's going to lead these guys down to their entry to pit road. Take it away, Aaron.
Yeah, let's see if they all get down here safely. We don't want to see any more back bumper covers having to get collected. They do have to get on the brakes quite a bit here at Talladega. That's kind of interesting. There we see Dan Winter in the 81, American Dan Winter, as we know him in the Window World machine. He's coming down pit road, has a good solid lead lap run going. John Peters coming down. No surprise, really, that Ryan Messer and John Peters come down on the same lap. Stephen Daddio is down as well. We saw him peeking back into the top 5 there in the 99 car. So everyone coming back out. We haven't talked about Jason Ricker a whole lot. We didn't talk about him a whole lot last week until near the end, and he ended up with a podium result. So right now, we've got, I think, is that Corey Casagrande and Brian Shipp that have stayed out, or I guess they came in earlier, and they might be trying to draft together here to get a little bit ahead. They are a few seconds ahead of Dale Glessner. Maybe a slightly slower pit stop for Glessner, as they may have taken a look at the rear bumper cover of that number 10. But we'll see here what happens with Casagrande and Ship can catch right back up to the front pack of cars that were down pit road, or possibly even catching past them. But things spreading out a little bit, as we normally see with the session of green flag pit stops. But I don't think that will be for very long.
Bobby Ship, Cody LeBlanc, Adam Henry all backed out in pit road. Corey Casagrande and Brian Ship were up to full song. They were the only group, or the only cars rather, from that first group, and they there you can see they're going to catch up to Winter and Rick, or go around the high side, and those two drivers going to tuck right on in. They're going to be able to kind of draft up to the next two, draft up to the next two, draft up to the next two, and by the time the white flag comes around, we're going to have ourselves a great big pack. Once again, Steve Daddio up front holding on to the lead. And you can see those guys are 5 cars strong, and they are working together up towards the front. That is textbook super speedway racing. The front 2 drivers pushing, the 3 drivers in behind, just kind of there to take up the air. And you can see they're really able to kind of pull away here. So it's going to be a couple of laps before Casagrande and company are able to pick up Miller and Winter up through them, pick up the 44 of McDonald to try and catch these front 5 drivers. But these guys have it figured out here with 19 laps to go.
Yeah, those top 5 competitors just put a lap on Regan Parent, who's still riding along out there. As once again, if there's a big one, he's 17 laps down. If there's a big one in the next lap or two, and those drivers fall out, Parent can pick up a few more spots. so you never know what can happen. I have a feeling he might retire the car here eventually if there's no point in picking up any other spots. But right now, these front 5 doing a good job. They put a lap on Colby Burkholder, who we saw near the front earlier on. I'm a little curious to see. I'm wondering a little bit if there were any penalties there coming down pit road with speeding penalties and whatnot, as we saw. I thought we were going to see Adam Henry. Adam Henry's just moving out of the way here. But yeah, there you see Bobby Ship and Adam Henry both kind of out of contention now. I have to wonder, with that wild entrance to pit road, if a couple of them had to serve some penalties there. So right now, though, it's these front 5 that are running together that are on the lead lap. Daddio, Belke, Peters, Messer, and McDonald. That's a pretty talented top 5 right there, but not far behind. There's John Miller and friends.
And there you see that whole pack has gotten themselves hooked up, and they are being led by Johnny Miller in that number 6 car. And you can see that second group was about a 1/10 of a second quicker that last time by, even quicker yet for Casagrande, who's kind of in the back of this pack. But they've got maybe a lap or two, and this is going to be a pack. They're going to catch up much quicker than I was intending.
Yeah, it happens quick here at Talladega.
There they are.
Yeah, and it's kind of with the help of some of those lapped cars. Regan Parent and Bobby Ship and Adam Henry, both all 3 of them are multiple laps down. Colby Burkholder also in the pack, one lap down, and that kind of allowed some of those drivers 6th on back to kind of catch that front draft. As now you see the lead cars are kind of moving their way, lead lap cars moving their way, or attempting to get by some of these lap race cars and see what they can do with the front runners. Right now, I mean, you still got 15 laps to go, but I have a feeling some of these drivers are setting each other up. A couple of team kind of racing going on. You got Peters and who else do we got? John Peters and Ryan Messer. I think Johnny Miller in the 229 Auto Sport Room. Then you got the four-wide weaponry guys who are actually short a driver tonight, but Austin Belke and Steve Daddio. I read on the Twitter that apparently one of the haulers that was carrying the number 4 car, normally piloted by Kenny Kibbe, to Alabama today was hijacked and was last spotted heading west on I-40 towards Las Vegas. Someone wanted to go NASCAR Cup Series racing, I guess, with the car. So, unfortunately, they're shorthanded, but doing a great job. Those 2 drivers are that are left with the 4-wide weaponry team.
It's always fun when drivers are able to jump out on Twitter and social media and kind of continue the story when we're not on the air here for the hour or two each and every week. It's always interesting to see where these virtual haulers end up. And man, how about 3 wide here? 14 laps to go. Nope, just kidding. They're going to think better of it. McDonald going to tuck back in to the tire tracks of Messer and Peters. Those two drivers have hooked up, and they are back up in the front, and that's going to be an interesting combo for these guys to try and get around. Messer started tonight 13 points back, third in points, and with the point leader Reagan Parent having issues earlier on, it's going to be a massive points day for that one car. Daddio in the mix as well back there in the second half of the top 10, and with Monday night's win with the Easy Clean Super Late Model Series here on VidaneTV, it may very well could end up that Ryan Messer leads here tonight, leading both the Monday night point standings and the Thursday night point standings here on VidaneTV. I don't think that's been done in our 4-year history.
Well, how about that? And a week-long sweep, too. And I think that's happened before.
That's happened a couple of times with both of those drivers.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But that's a really unique stat there. But he's going to have to hold off about 9 different drivers here at this particular time. We got 10 drivers about separated by a second and a half. There's still 3 other drivers on the lead lap that are kind of hooked up, but several seconds behind, unfortunately. Had some misfortune there on the pace lap. There you see Dale Glessner. They did get that back bumper cover kind of reinstalled there on the number 10. But as you can see, I mean, it looks kind of like his car is a bit faster than some of these cars, but he is so far back now. He is just praying for a yellow flag right now, running in the same draft as Mike Hopkins, Cody LeBlanc, who I think is a lap down, and then also Jeffrey Brown having a good solid run on the lead lap in that 13th spot. If we have a yellow flag or another big one, he could be knocking on the door of a top 10 here.
Biggest mover of the race so far, and this is going to change probably 6 times over here in the next 12 laps. But right now it's going to be the 9 car of Jason Ricker. He's up in the 5th spot, currently 16 spots from where he qualified, back outside the top 20, and still looking to march forward. There you can see trying to close back up to the back bumper of the 44 and get back to work. Go back to doing a little bit of studying on the back bumper of that 44 car to see where he can get around him. If he has to get high, get low, wherever he wants to get around him on the racetrack. Now's the time to figure it out, because with less than 10 laps to go here coming up shortly, these guys are going to be in fight mode.
Yeah, and then you also see in this front draft, Brian Shipp. We haven't talked a bunch about Bobby Shipp leading some laps earlier on, but his brother Brian having a great run now in the front draft, following the 17 of Regan Parent, who it feels like he's kind of helping some buddies of his right now. There he is with Corey Casagrande in that front draft. Although Parent is 17 laps down, he's helping some of these drivers have a solid showing. As earlier on, I was going to say it was kind of the Pennsylvania modified show where we had Bobby Shipp, Adam Henry, Dale Glessner. But now we see some of these late model guys kind of running towards the front. Corey Casagrande, Brian Shipp, formerly ran modifieds at Jennerstown and Motordrome, but now he's in a late model. So John Peters formerly ran the Pass series. Ryan Messer runs the late model up in the Maritime region of Canada. So we got some of these full fender guys kind of using their full fender expertise to ride up front now.
And you can see Shipp starting to get a little bit frustrated in that blue and yellow 48 car. A little bit of a connection issue for the 17, and that is frustrating, especially in pack racing. He's doing a great job pushing on the back bumper of the 17 car of Corey Casagrande, trying to get him the momentum he needs to get up around Messer and Peters. But unfortunately, with that connection dropping out like that and kind of blinking out, he's not quite able to get him all the way around the racetrack. And that's one of the things you can see Shipp kind of backing up just a little bit. He's going to try and get on by the 17 car and maybe get Parent to kind of hold on to the back of the 4-car draft there to see if they can get a little bit harder of a push without that connection issue kind of hindering it. There you can see the 17 going high. Message received. Here comes Shipp. This is going to get crazy because Bobby Shipp knows he wants to get up in the top 5, and Corey Casagrande, he wants to get himself a win here at Talladega. I got a feeling it's about to be Peters, Messer versus the field.
Yeah, it could very well be. But look who Brian Shipp has as his dancing partner here and the drafting partner. It's his brother Bobby Shipp there, even though he's a couple laps down. So some brotherly work going on here for a spot inside the top 5. It's kind of like a Brian Keselowski, Brad Keselowski thing that we saw quite a few years ago at the Daytona Duels. So right now, Brian Shipp riding in the 5th spot. We are under 10 laps to go, 8 to go that time by. John Peters and Ryan Messer on the inside, like you said, and Corey Casagrande and Brian Shipp on the outside.
A little brotherly shove, as it were, in the sim racing world up on the high side, and you can see that that's a good teammate to have. That's a good person to have behind you as well, knowing that they can't get their position. So really all they're trying to do is push you to a better spot, and it seems to be working right now. Corey Casagrande getting a bit of the lead there, getting a little bit of a sniff of it, but the bottom side has more cars. Little bit of a slide there for the 70. Holds on to it as they come out of 3 and 4. They get a little bit squirrely in that high line, but they put it back together. They are still door handle to door handle there for second.
Yeah, Brian Shipp getting all kinds of squirrely there, and it kind of probably has to make you nervous, as we saw some cars connect not the right way to bring out that first yellow about 7 laps into this one. So it could be bound to happen again if they don't stay in line and not anticipate the right thing. But 2 drivers that I'm watching too that aren't right up front, but I see him peeking on the outside at least right now. Is one of them is Steven Daddio. I would not be surprised at all to see. Kind of looks like he's hanging back here to Belkey. See those two kind of battling it out here. I would not be surprised at all if Peters and Messer versus Daddio and Belkey coming to the line on that to the checkered flag. So we'll see what happens here. Right now, they're still riding back in 7th and 8th. Top 10, all within a second right now.
And you can see these drivers are sifting through the field. They are looking for that dancing partner. They are looking for their teammate. Messer and Peters, they're already hooked up towards the front. You can see the next 2 cars in line. They're the 44 and 9, but it looks like Corey Casagrande, well, it looks like he had a dancing partner, and then he just kind of kept going right. He's going to let a couple of cars go down and get on around him, and it looks like Daddio going to make a march towards the front.
Yeah, it looks like Corey's going to catch up. It looks like Regan Parent's going to catch up with Corey Casagrande and try to help move him towards the front once again. So he hasn't lost that front draft. Right there, still in the 7th spot. So it's not over yet, as we're coming to 5 laps to go in this YRD 50.
High five from Barney in the flag stand, as you made mention. Messer going to jump up to the high side, try and block for a little bit. Looks like he's going to get a push now from Daddio in the 99 car, and it is a massive push indeed. They're able to get by John Peters down on the bottom side. This is interesting. Messer up on the high side, Peters down on the bottom.
Yeah, and how about that? I didn't expect to see that happen, but I don't know. Maybe we're setting ourselves up for some kind of unique strategy here. But it definitely looks like Peters, Messer, and Daddio could be the 3 cars to beat. Don't count out Scott McDonald, though. I think he had a really good run at Daytona, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, Scott McDonald actually has 3 career top 5s on super speedways. So one of his top 5s was this year. So again, Scott McDonald having a great run right there at the 44. Kind of a privateer, I guess you could say here, an independent in the NEP series, but shows up at all the races in that unsponsored number 44 and makes a good run of it. And right now, he is a threat for the victory, as we said that the top 10 are all in contention, but there's more than 10 cars up there. Let's look at this, creating a 3rd lane now. Corey Casagrande and Regan Parent. This is going to make things interesting.
And I think the guys that are in the catbird seat of the 3 cars that are hooked up, still on the lead lap, but 30 seconds behind this melee. It is going to get crazy with 3 laps to go when they cross the stripe. 3 by 3 by 2 by 2 by 1. 3 laps to go here in the YRD 50. John Peters leading from the middle lane, but what's that going to look like coming out of turn number 2?
Yeah, you were talking about them being 30 seconds back, those 3 cars, but they're actually 40 seconds back. So if this remains green, now 41, and if this remains green, maybe by that time on that last lap, we could see these leaders catching that 11th to 13th place cars that are racing for position. And that can make things even more interesting. depending on how quickly they approach them. So right now, though, John Peters on the inside, Ryan Messer in the middle, and Corey Casagrande still trying to make that outside work as we come around. 2 laps remaining.
Popsicle sticks here at Daytona. They're 3 wide, but all those lanes changed there in 3 and 4. Everybody gunning for that top spot. Daddio all the way up on the high side. Messer leading the middle line. John Peters down to the bottom side with a massive push from the 44 of Scott McDonald. We made mention Ricker is there as well. That 9 car, an absolute wild card. He's going to slide up to the middle lane and see what he can do on his march towards the front.
Yeah, right now they don't have much momentum, but I kind of called it before. Daddio and Belke were going to hook up, and they did, but it just didn't seem to work out. Maybe they're going to try to get another running start here in that 99 and the 24 to see if they can make a last lap run here. Right now, though, John Peters continuing to lead the way. Jason Ricker, I say continuing to lead the way, but we're not at the start-finish line to take the white flag until right now, and Ricker actually had the top spot by about a hundredth of a second, something like that. So we're going to see what happens here on this final lap. Look at Scott McDonald, Brian Shipp, all on that inside line, all of them trying to find anything that they have. You can't pass under that yellow line, though.
3 wide, 4 wide. Trouble Shipp down to the bottom side. We're going to race back to the checkered flag right now. Ricker holding on to it. Big push from Metzer in that number 1 car. They are 3 wide in behind as they come out of turn number 4. Does McDonald have enough juice to get onto the back bumper of that 9 car? It's a drag race down to the bottom. Oh, the 9 car's around. He takes the bottom lane with him. Steve Daddio in the 99 car. He is going to come down and cross the start-finish line. First, Corey Casagrande finishes second. Sideways, and Austin Belke in the 24 Jurassic Park ride. He's going to come home third. Aaron, how about that finish?
Another crazy, another restrictor plate race finish. How about that? Not expecting to see that happen. Coming to the line, maybe I was a little bit. Tough break for Jason Ricker as he seemed to have that one in the bag there. If it was Daytona, he would have. He would have been your winner. But not here at Talladega. Unfortunately, he's going to finish a little further back in the top 10, and Steven Daddio is going to come away with the win and more than likely with the championship lead when we get out of this race. This is only his second win of the year. I believe it's his, I think it's his first super speedway victory. So congrats to Steven Daddio. This is going to be, these are going to be some interesting interviews when all is said and done.
Indeed they are. We'll watch that replay in slow motion once again. But Steve Daddio coming home with the win. Steve, talk to us. What was going through your mind looking in that rearview mirror coming to the checkered?
Just stand on it. Just absolutely stand on it. I can't believe I just pulled it off. I don't know. I was looking for clean air up top and just praying for some help. I kind of got shuffled back in that last couple laps there, and I don't know. These, I feel like I'm pretty good on the super speedways, and I feel like the side drafting, nobody really seems to use it except for me. And then I just got some help at the end there, and I don't know. I'm pretty pumped up right now. I don't think I've actually top 10 the car on a super speedway the last couple of seasons. So this feels great. This is awesome.
Momentum definitely going to be on the side of the 99 car. Reagan Parent coming in with a 10-point lead here tonight, being scored unofficially 18th. You're going to inherit the points lead. What's that mean with 3 races to go?
It means it's go time. I got to start leading some laps and staying out front, and I don't know. It's definitely re-energizing. You know, I'm not even sure what the rest of the schedule looks like. But yeah, I'm excited to actually, have a shot at it. And I don't know. I feel like I've been so close the last couple seasons, and I'm right there. So I just gotta wrap it up in the final 3 here.
All business over the next 3 weeks here for sure. Who's out there watching? Who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack?
Friends, family, my parents. Like I said, my dad, I feel like he's already calling me. I don't even know where my phone is at this point. Clark, Mort, Jay, God, Sean, my teammate. I got to thank my teammates. I got to thank Austin, Sal for spotting. I mean, he got wrecked early, and yeah, he was just calling it out for race strategy as usual. He's the man. I got a great team over there at 4 Wide, and they really helped me to this one. And can't forget my sponsors. Reverie. Thanks again for being on the car. Daddy was Auto Parts, YRD. Thanks for the sick paint scheme. I'm glad we got one on a super speedway for you. I don't know. I'm on cloud 9 right now. It feels really good.
Massive win here for the YRD 50 at Talladega, and shot in the arm that's needed for that points battle. Had taken over the points lead with 3 to go, man. Congratulations. Good luck in the next 3.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing the broadcast as always.
For sure. And we're going to slide it on down pit road just a little bit further to a guy that we really usually only talk about the first and last race of the season, but a great run. Aaron, you've caught up with Corey Casagrande.
Yeah, Corey, welcome to the podium for the first time this season, if I remember correctly. And yeah, that car, it got mangled there right at the start-finish line, taking the checkered flag, but you continued to keep up that streak of completing 100% of the laps here at Talladega with a second-place finish.
Yeah, that was the only streak I was looking for, and once we took the white flag, I was pretty pumped. I don't know. We've had a pretty crappy season, so it's nice to actually get interviewed for once. And yeah, it was a good finish. I think it was nice to see the 229 guys just wreck each other coming to the line, and Brent wasn't around to wreck me, so it all worked out in the end.
Yes, it wasn't a 229 victory on February 29th today, but you had an interesting strategy there coming down to the wire. You had a guy that was your point leader, but is 17 laps down in this race, kind of helping you kind of get muscling your way to the front. And what was the strategy with that between you and Regan Parent?
Yeah, well, Reggie kind of joined us over on the Icon side, maybe like the middle of the year. So, when he said he came back out on the track, he's like, he could only get like 1 or 2 spots, but it was worth it for him to still hang around up front and push me. He had to drop back a couple times for connectivity problems, but it worked out there in the end. I mean, it pushed me up to the top. Brian Shipp was a really good pusher for me too. So, it's just super speedway racing. It's kind of a crapshoot, but I think we hung around in the top 10 the whole race, and it worked out.
Yeah, and then who helps you get to and from the racetrack?
Just all my sponsors, just the same guys in real life: Wicked Power Sports, CF Moto, Charlie Performance. It's been a fun season. We only got, I think, 3 or 4 more races left, and then we start real racing March 15th or so. So, it's been a good off season racing with the boys, and I'm looking forward to the end of the year next year.
At second place finisher Corey Casagrande, a lot of momentum going into the final few week stretch, and coming home with the second place finish. And Paul, you're with third place finisher.
Indeed, I am. Just taking another slow motion look here at this finish, and Austin Belke coming out of turn number 4. You were the 8th car in line. When the checkered flag flew, you were the 3rd one in line. Talk to us, man. Third place finish here at Talladega.
I'm just surprised, honestly, Paul, that I survived to the end. Usually that's my only goal in these races, is just to make it across the start-finish line, whether the car's in one piece or not. When I do that, kind of out of my control, so really happy to do that. And last year, as you guys probably pointed out on the broadcast already, Brandon Marhefka won this race, and he was 13th position when the white flag came out. He might have been 13th coming out of turn 4, and just chaos in front of him. That's all I needed today to get 3rd, so very happy with it.
Yeah, and we can almost imagine the onboard shot from the cockpit of that 24 car. You're so focused out the windshield, you don't even necessarily see that 4 cars just kind of peeled off down on the bottom side to get 4 of those positions. So a great job holding on to the end in this one, and very, very quick 24 car here tonight. Who's out there watching? Who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack?
Well, first off, I got to thank the good Lord, my parents, my wonderful fiance, Jacqueline, Corey and the boys for putting this thing on, Zane, Sal. I know it takes a lot to get this going. Everybody that races here, my team for this league, obviously 4 Wide Weaponry, and then my overall kind of mothership team, Different Path Motorsports and JR Shepherd. So just a lot of guys, a lot of things that come together. And how about shout out to Warren Concert Band? Obviously, I can't not thank you guys as well for the great broadcast. These things are really fun to go back and watch, and you guys do a great job in the booth.
Always love to hear it. Always fun to put on a show here, especially on Thursday night. And Austin Belke, solid run here tonight. Crazy finish here at Talladega, coming home with that third place win. And you can see just kind of a little slow motion action with that final lap, final parade lap. Looking for that burnout from the 99 of Steve Daddio. I know it's on the tape here, getting towards the end of it. Bang, 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 bang. There it is. Some burnout action from tonight's winner, new points leader, Steve Daddio, in that 99 car. There's a tap from the 7H NH, and there's another bumper cover flying off. But Aaron, 3 more to go in this one. We're getting ready to crown ourselves a champion, and that type battle is that points battle rather heating up in a big way.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few races. A little bit less of a crapshoot than Talladega is coming up, but we're going to be wrapping up the season at Dover in a few weeks, and it's going to be pretty intense. If from the looks of it, looks to be one of our tightest points races of all time.
Absolutely, and that's going to do it here for us at Talladega for the YRD 50. Steve Daddio winning tonight, taking over the points lead. 3 races to go, and you're only going to see it here on VidaneTV. We will see you next Thursday. We'll be doing it live, and we'll catch you on the flip side.